I told you before Breeze award-winning update that the NBA has officially weighed in on that controversial no call at the end of regulation. Arthur Thompson, Cade Cunningham, J.B. Pickerstaff, all up in arms because there should have been a foul there. We should have got free throws and a chance to win Game 5. And the NBA came in minutes ago. Hell no, that was not a foul. The refs were correct not to call a foul. It was incidental contact at best, marginal contact at worst. Therefore, no foul.
100%. They got it right, Rob G. Excuse me. They got it right. Stop it. That was the biggest baby, them crying, oh, my God, that was a foul. He should have been to the line. And the other thing, Rob G., he was a 57% free throw shooter. What if he missed both of them?
Oh, he totally would have missed both of them. Are you kidding me?
Am I right with the pressure?
They're like, hey, if you make one, we win this game. No, I'm missing both. I can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that came out because I heard Brian Windhorst and some other people belly aching on TV this morning, and I'm just like, dude, I just didn't see it that way. I think it would have been a travesty, Rob G., if they called a foul there. It really would have, considering what the Cavs were able to do to come back, and it wasn't a foul like that. It was incidental contact.
Absolutely.
You're going for the ball, right? You're going for the ball. You could tangle up feet. It wasn't like he had a clear path, he had the ball or something, and the opponent tripped him on purpose to try to slow him down or stop him. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the 2-minute report. Thank God for the 2-minute report. We finally got something that was a confirmation rather than the
usually it's like, hey, we missed that one. Yeah, that's our fault. That's usually what we get. You know what's interesting about that, Rob, is while I am like you, I agree it was not a foul, and I'm glad they did not call it a foul because I thought it would have taken away from what was, I'm not going to say a great comeback for Cleveland, more of an incredible meltdown for Detroit. I viewed it more as a meltdown than a comeback. That's my opinion.
I get it because you have to have the other team has to help you.
Exactly.
So I don't disagree.
24-second violations, you give that away. But
even Cade got stripped in his own end.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, that was a huge play. Are you kidding?
Exactly. And the reason why I was surprised, though, that they did not call the foul is because we had just seen earlier this week the NBA had released some numbers indicating that the refs have been calling about 11% more personal fouls per game in the playoffs than they did in the regular season, which would have made it the largest differential in NBA history. Because usually, historically, they call it really ticky-tack in the regular season. That's why the games are so many free throws, because you tap them on the shoulder and it's a foul and it might be a flagrant.
Oh, if you touch anybody, right. My God.
And they say in the playoffs, we're going to let them play. It's going to be more physical. It's basically two different sports. And what we've seen up until this point, I guess last night notwithstanding, is that they have been calling it much tighter than expected. And the fouls are going up. So, Rob, I ask you, just as someone who's covered the league for so long, is that a situation where the NBA has kind of lost their way a little bit, where they're trying to make it so these games are similar, where it's the regular season and the playoffs are more like the same sport all year round? Or is it something where maybe it's gone off the deep end, where these players are expecting not to get called for fouls as much, and they've really ratcheted up the physicality, and they're just getting their hand caught in the cookie jar?
I think that's it. That's the latter. I really do. That they're not expecting. They're thinking that they're going to let them play. And that could, you know what the big thing, Rob G., when you think about it? Could it alter OKC this year?
And that's a big, they're relying on the free throw or on the fouls both ways.
They rely on the idea that they could be very aggressive and very handsy and very touchy and physical and pushing. I mean, and they get away with it. Most of the time they don't get called. I know they get called sometimes, but they get away with a lot. And if this is going to change, because I'm telling you right now, I believe this. If they called a tighter game on SGA and on OKC, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in. They wouldn't.
That's fair.
Because even SGA, dude, does he not push off on every?
Yeah, he's perfect that little chicken wing.
Yeah, he pushes off
every play.
I mean, dude, if you remember in the playoffs when they stopped giving James Harden that call, right? Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yep.
It changed everything for him.
Yeah.
He was always looking for that call, right? Going to the lane, kind of like a little physicality, and they would just be like, nope, play on.
Yep. And Rob, and to that point, I agree with you. I think that more than, because, there's this narrative about James Harden that he's like a mental midget and that he doesn't perform well when the lights are the brightest and he doesn't want to shoot the ball and he turns the ball over. And that's been a narrative for a while. But I tend to more agree with you. I think that James Harden, for like a decade there, played a certain style of basketball in the regular season where he was always hunting for fouls. He was doing every trick in the book to get a hook or a grab of something. To
put up a three-pointer over the line, right?
Over the step back or whatever it took, selling, embellishing calls, whatever. And he would get to the free throw line. So that to a point where defenders would try to defend him with their hands behind their back to exaggerate the fact that they were not reaching in. And then when you get to the playoffs, they let all that stuff go. So everything that made James Harden the MVP candidate, arguably the best player in the league there for a couple of seasons, all those advantages disappear because they're not letting him do all that stuff. And SGA seems to have been the reverse of that because he still gets all those calls offensively and defensively. OKC can grab, hold, chuck, whatever it takes because they have a reputation for being a physical defense and they let that slide.
100%. And it could change overnight. Do you agree with that? If they start calling it on SGA or calling some fouls, it could change.
Absolutely. If they decide we're going to, overreact to this report that 11% of our fouls are up now, like, hey, well, we can't have our playoff basketball be decided with free throws, right? So let's go back to letting these guys play a little bit and let it be decided on the court. And if that's the case, then especially if it's San Antonio, they could be in a rude awakening.
Right. You just hate that the officiating is so much a part of the game, and I get it. And there's always been calls and different situations, but finally they got that right. Last night was good that the NBA came back because I just heard too many people belly aching, and JB Bickerstaff, I just was like, when you come out and then he's been saying, oh, yeah, ever since we went to Cleveland, they get more free throws than us. Like, dude, come on, like, stop. Like, you had a 15. Didn't they have a 15-point lead last?
15 point in the first half.
So how did you get a 15-point lead if they're getting all the calls and all the free throws? How'd you build you're down by 15 at the start of the game, then maybe I might buy it in every game, and you have to come back. You've lost leads, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%.
All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share, do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.